We are at war, and I think it's a war that most people don't know anything about, aren't paying attention to, and don't understand the seriousness of it. It's what I want to talk about today, and it's something that you should be taking seriously. And it's one of those things that they have us concentrating on one thing over here, or three or four things around the world, right? But the real danger is coming from within, and it may not be the thing within that you think I'm going to be talking about. So I hope that you will listen to this and take it very seriously, because it's something you need to take. We all need to take seriously. Okay. By the way, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith, and it's good to have you here today. It is Holy Saturday, the day between Good Friday and Easter Sunday tomorrow. It's a time when Christians pay particular attention to that unbelievable gift, that unearned gift from the Lord Himself. It's a time for reflection. It's time for understanding. I won't go into that in detail on this. That's not my purpose. But when I read this, and I wasn't going to make one today, but when I read this article, I thought, okay, I need to make this one today, because it is, well, it's important, okay? By the way, welcome to all the new people. It's good to have you here. I've had a lot of people join lately who have come over from all the fear porn channels, who are tired of being worried and told that the world is coming to an end every day, and the World War III and all that, and it's good to have you here. And you may be wondering, but now, Steve, now I'm here because I came over because you cover everything in such a reasonable, solid way, and now you're talking about the war. What have I gotten myself into? Well, I'm gonna tell you about that. There are some things to be taken seriously. It's as simple as that. Nothing out there should cause you to light your hair on fire and jump up and down, yelling and screaming, and thinking that the world is collapsing. Most collapses come slowly, which is why people fail to see them. It's like the frog in the boiling pot, and people don't respond quickly enough. And this is a war that we are involved in. No, make no mistake. And so I'll get to that in just a second. But welcome to the new people, and particularly for those new people over who have joined us on the Patreon channel. If you're not with us, we'd love to have you. You'll get a lot more over there than you do on the YouTube channel. The link is right down below. Cost you $1 a month. It doesn't matter. I don't really care about that. I'll be real honest. I don't make my money off of Patreon, but I'm able to put a lot more stuff over there than I put on YouTube, and so I just want to let you know that you can come over there if you'd like, and that's the link down below. By the way, thank you for everybody. And also, if you're new here, I always start each video with a couple of announcements, some visiting, welcoming, things like that. We're a community here. We are a community at Integrative Preparedness. This isn't a place just for me to spout off and say, and tell you what to be afraid of today. So that's why I kind of start off like this. We start off, by the way, a lot of people say they enjoy starting their day drinking coffee with me. I hope you do too. So grab yourself a cup of whatever you drink. I'm going to take a sip, and then we'll continue. It's our best-selling mug. One shot placement is everything. But thank you all. Yesterday I asked you all a question. I'm not going to get into it here, but thank you all for all of the great, and I mean great, and again, particularly on the Patreon channel, the great recommendations, the great suggestions as to what scenes from the Stonemont series books should be put in a movie trailer. It's a project that we're working on right now. And that is, for those of you who may not know, it's the project for the Stonemont series, my books. Everybody has said for years they wanted to see it in a movie. Well, we're thinking about that. Okay, I'll just put it, I can't say any more than that. Let's just say it is in the minds of some, okay? I shouldn't go beyond that now. But the Stonemont series, the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom and hostages to fortune, and the very latest one on Wings Like Eagles. You can get those either through Amazon, the link's down below, or you can get them a better way through me through our website, stonemont.us. And then I sign them for you, write a little note in there to you, and also we can give them to you. When you order the whole set, which is how most people do, then we're able to give you a discount because it costs us less in packaging and handling and postage when we do it that way, and we pass it on to you. And then we also give you toss in the Stone Mountain Notebook. And there you have it. That link is also down below. We've had 2 or 3 consecutive record days of sales, and it's just it's because people want to know. They want to have a positive direction, a positive story without a bunch of profanity and cussing and everything like that, based on traditional values, based on the direction of the good Lord and the establishment of good families, the establishment of good communities. I call it the total plan for how to prepare for, survive, and rebuild after a total collapse of everything, and that's exactly what it is. That's why people want to see a movie made out of it. So we'll see about that. Did I say you can get it? The link through our website is also down below, stonemont.us. Okay, now, the war. We're in a war that I think a lot of people occasionally remember, but it's a war that the adversary never forgets. Okay, and what is that war? Well, I'm going to read you an article here from the Rare Foundation website. And the title of it is Islamic Center of Rowlett Conquers Texas Church, Taps Radical Imam Linked to the 1993 World Trade Center Bombing to Lead the Mosque Fundraiser. Okay, now you know that Islam is spreading throughout the United States. It has spread throughout Europe. It has almost totally taken over the UK. I mean, what they have done over there is just unbelievable. As a matter of fact, there's something in here. There's a video in here that if you, I post this after I read the article to you and talk to you about what we need to do about it. I'll post it on the Patreon channel so that you can read it, so that you can send it to your friends, and also so that you can see the video that's at the end, and it's an important video to watch. So let me read this. If you're not familiar with the Rare Foundation, I forget what it stands for, but it's essentially returning America to our foundational values. Okay, Dallas, Texas. Newly resurfaced promotional videos revealed that a Christian church in Dallas suburb of Rowlett has been converted into a mosque by the Islamic Center of Rowlett. Is it Rowlett or Rowlett? You Texans will let me know. The building, purchased for $2.2 million, is now being repurposed into a full-scale Islamic center and madrasa. To raise funds for the purchase, the mosque enlisted Siraj Wahhaj, a controversial imam who was named an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Wahhaj is a long-standing figure in the American Islamic movement, known for defending the blind Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman, who was convicted of plotting terror attacks against U.S. landmarks, and for calling him a respected scholar and a strong preacher of Islam. In 1991 lecture in Texas, Wahhaj urged Muslims to establish Allah's Deen in America and warned the country would fall unless it accepted the Islamic agenda. Guys, this is a real war. This is a serious war, and I'll tell you what, they are waging the war the way we should. And they are doing it peacefully to begin with. They always begin peacefully. It starts peacefully, and then they go to jihad. Jihad. Okay? You need to be aware of this, and you need to take it seriously, because the country your children and grandchildren will grow up in depends on what we do now. Okay, so his son, Siraj ibn Wahhaj, was convicted in 2023, is now serving life in prison for his role in operating a terrorist training compound in Amalia, New Mexico. The remote desert site, discovered in 2018, was fortified and stocked with weapons. Authorities described it as a militarized training ground where children were being groomed to carry out armed jihad against American institutions, including schools, banks, and government buildings. The investigation began as a search for Wahaj's missing 3-year-old son, Abdul Ghani Wahaj, who suffered from epilepsy. Tragically, the boy's decomposed body was found buried in the compound. Prosecutors argued the group believed the child would be resurrected to lead them in a religiously motivated battle. Wahaj's son did not act alone. Several extended family members were arrested and later convicted in connection with the operation, including, and then they give a list of people. According to federal prosecutors, the group practiced tactical firearm drills with children as young as 11, while promoting radical Islamic teachings. During the trial, authorities revealed writings and plans referencing jihad and martyrdom, reinforcing the conclusion that this was not merely a fringe cult, but an organized and ideologically motivated domestic terror cell. Despite this, Siraj Wahaj Sr. has continued to hold speaking engagements across the country and remains a revered figure in the majority of Islamic institutions, including the Islamic Center of Rowlett, which proudly featured him as a keynote speaker in their mosque conversion campaign. At the fundraiser, Wahaj endorsed the church-to-mosque transformation and urged attendees to donate generously. In the following video report, which includes Wahaj's promotional appearance for the Islamic Center of Rowlett, Rare Foundation also features clips of Wahaj's earlier public speeches where he delivers highly ideological and confrontational statements, including, "Muslims are buying churches and synagogues all over America. We are not trying to assimilate. Getting involved in politics is not a substitute for jihad. My mission is to go throughout America to register every Muslim to vote. I would prefer to have a true Muslim, as head of the United States Army than an enemy." These are not isolated sermons. Despite these videos being widely available, the Islamic Center of Rowlett still chose Siraj Wahaj to represent them as a keynote speaker for their Church to Mosque fundraiser. In one of the Islamic Center of Rowlett's fundraising promotional videos, they include a reference to the Prophet Muhammad's arrival in Medina, framing it as a model for their mosque project. When the Prophet Muhammad arrived in Medina, the first thing he did was build a mosque. At first glance, the line may seem benign and appeal to spiritual tradition, but the historical subtext tells a very different story. According to Islamic history, Muhammad's arrival in Medina marked a decisive shift from peaceful preaching to political and military dominance. After years of nonviolent dawah in Mecca, he used Medina as a strategic base to form tribal alliances, organize a standing army, and launch a decade of coordinated military campaigns known as offensive jihad across the Arabian Peninsula. This phase, known as the Medinian period, laid the foundation for Islam as a political and military state. The Islamic conquests that followed were justified based on this shift from spiritual preaching to territorial dominance. By invoking Medina, it seems they are signaling a strategic shift from minority presence to ideological rule, from peaceful coexistence and preaching to waging jihad. This is not just about prayer, it's about power, precedent, and control. The conversion of Christian churches into Islamic centers has been occurring across the U.S. and Europe, often accompanied by similar messaging and high-profile, controversial Islamic figures. In some cases, the architecture remains, but the spiritual foundation and cultural identity are completely erased. Texans are now being urged to watch the full video, understand the ideological implications, and demand accountability and transparency from local officials about the purpose and oversight of these developments. This is not about religious freedom, it's about strategic replacement. That's right, I'll post that, and then there's the video, which you should watch. I'll post that on the on the Patreon channel. Now, what they are doing, and this has been the aim of Islam ever since its foundation, is converting people, converting country after country, and they've been involved in it here. I think I'll stay away from that. I might get this thing marked. But the way they're doing it is going to be successful if those of us who should be informing ourselves and fighting against it don't get up off our butts and fight against it. They say that that Texans ought to be aware of this. Not just Texans, all Americans should be aware of this. And they should realize that the way that the Muslims who are involved in this movement, uh, the reason they are successful is because they have done it politically. That's something that the people on our side just don't want to do. They don't want to get involved in politics. Too many people who claim to revere and observe the foundational principles of America prefer to run and hide. They run and hide. They don't want to be involved in politics. They say, "Oh, politics is dirty business. Oh, it's everybody's is elected, not elected." They won't be involved. Um, that's why organized. That's why the left was so successful. Has been so successful over the last 100 years. You know, maybe not in the last election cycle, but well, in many cases it was. Realize that we have two whole states that are almost dominated by Islamic thought, being Minnesota and Michigan. But they do this in an organized way. They have a goal. They have a goal of dominance over other groups. You see, our strength of independence, individual independence, is also our weakness in this. Is while they are united, while they come at it in a united front with a specific accepted goal, we're all over the place. We're all doing our thing. And I'm not saying that we should come together and I won't get into what we end result should or should not be doing. I'll say what we need to do here is to understand that this is an enemy within. And if people won't accept it, if they won't recognize it, if they won't fight against it, the other side will win. Now, there will be those who will say, well, no, it doesn't matter what we do, God's will be done. Well, sometimes you're a part of God's will. Do you realize that? Too often, those who profess to be Christians excuse their inaction by saying, well, God's will be done. Well, you're supposed to be a part of that. You are supposed to stand up against those things that are against the message of Jesus Christ. You're supposed to be promoting the message of Jesus Christ. And as they said here, I think in the video, I think it says since 1960, 16,000 Christian churches have closed in Great Britain, and many of those have been taken over as Islamic centers. The same thing's been happening here in the United States. All because those people who like to talk about, their faith and their beliefs from the Christian side don't stand up. You don't stand up. It's well, my religion is private to me. Okay, well, is that what Jesus told you to do? I didn't know I was going to get into a religious thing here, but I may as well. And I talked about this yesterday. It's about preppers who claim to be Christians who go off and hide in the woods. Is that what Jesus told you to do? I mean, you claim to be a follower of Jesus, right? I don't recall him ever saying that. I recall him saying, go out into all the world and make disciples. Make disciples of all the nations, to promote, to carry that message. Now, if you believe in that message, then do something about it. Stand up against what goes against it. Stand up for what it is. If you don't have the you-know-whats to get up and do it, then, as I said yesterday, this constant theological virtue signaling it's just empty stuff, and everybody is seeing it for what it is. You can't claim to be a follower of Christ and yet not do what he said. Right? Think about that. The enemy, we have many enemies from within. And as Lincoln and many others said, and somebody asked me, because I mentioned the other day, I'm not a fan of Lincoln, and somebody came on and said, "Why are you not a fan of Lincoln?" And I told them, I don't think they were being argumentative. They were probably genuinely curious. And I said, well, either study your history more, not what they taught you in high school, or read my books, and you'll find out. And there's a great lesson there, as so many people believe things that aren't true. Okay. But uh, back to this. We have so many enemies in the United States, and just as Lincoln and others have said, we will never be brought down by an external enemy. If we are brought down, it will always be as a result of an enemy within. Okay, and that might mean that we succumb to China or someplace, but it will be because of the enemies within that allowed that. Okay, and we're involved in sabotage from within, degrading our system and our belief system from within, thereby allowing outside enemies to conquer us. God has used that throughout history, many times. When a country turned against, when a nation turned against the will of God, He brought their enemies against them and allowed them to enslave them and dominate them. Lessons of the Jews, right? Let the lessons of the Jews remain with the Jews, and let it be. It's a lesson that we should learn from. So there are many enemies from within. This is probably the most dangerous. Uh, it's allowed. It's aided and abetted by our liberal, socialist, communistic elements within our country. But unless we, but unless we stand against it and prepare for it individually, we have to stand against it collectively and individually. But we have to prepare for it individually. For this fight that is coming, it's going to become more violent. It always does. If you follow the spread of Islam throughout history, it always starts peacefully and then it goes violent. And when it goes violent, man, it is something, because there is no fervor like religious fervor. And it could be coming our way. It's probably the greatest domestic threat in our country, about which most people are totally ignorant or choose to ignore. And yet it poses a great danger. So I would suggest, now what Steve, what should we do? Well, you need to prepare to defend yourself, number one. You need to continue to prepare. You need to increase your preparedness in all areas. You need to increase your ability to be self-sustaining. You need to increase your ability to survive and operate outside those external systems over which you have little or no control. Like I always say, integrative preparedness, right? Food, water, heat, shelter, people, defense, all of those things. But then you need to stand up and be a defender. You need to come together with like-minded people, and you need to fight these things politically. And there are too many people out there who say they're not really on our side. They talk a good game, but they don't show up for the game. Who say that they're on, they stand for America and all this, but you can't find them when it's time to vote or to get out there and do anything. What are they doing? Don't be misled by that. Those people are wolves in sheep clothing. Or a better example might be a jackal or a hyena in sheep's clothing. They talk the game, but they're not to be found when it's time to suit up. Okay, so prepare yourselves. If we want to win this game, it's going to have to be won politically, as all great fights are. It's always a political solution, which again many preppers just don't want to think about. And I think that it's because their understanding of the world and geopolitics and all that is fairly limited. That too many have separated themselves from the way the world actually works when they haven't done very well in the world, or they don't like the way it goes. They've said, well, I don't want any part of it. Again, against the teachings of Jesus. We are supposed to be out there in the fight. We are supposed to be going to all the nations and create disciples, create believers. That is the proper response for a Christian. Some of you may not be Christians. The rest of my advice still serves you very well, right? Okay, but the vast majority of people who watch my channel claim to be Christians, and my question is, what are you doing? What are you doing about it? Are you hiding, like so many other channels want you to do? Are you actually engaged in the process and engaged in the defense of the faith and the propagation of the faith and on proper foundational principles? Is it what our country is supposed to be, what it should be? That's the question for this Saturday. So this is a danger. It is a definite danger. It's a slow-moving danger, which is why most people won't see it in time. So you need to make sure that you're prepared for when this comes down the road at you, because it will. It's coming. It's coming. But you're being distracted by too many other things. Okay? All right. Hey, before I let you go, another reminder. You want to know how to be totally self-sufficient. You want to know how to prepare yourself for a total collapse of everything and whatever it is. The Stone Mount series, a great story. People tell me it's a great story, and I appreciate it because I wrote them. I have some people who have read through the whole thing 5 times because they just want to get back into a world that they prefer to the one they live in and learn a lot. You'll learn more in here than you can imagine. But you won't even realize you're learning because you'll get into the story so much. It's a great, great story. And you'll love the characters. Some people have fallen in love with a couple of them. Okay? You can get them through Amazon. Links down below. Or I love it when you get them from me directly because then I get to sign them for you. Write a little note in there to you. Give you a discount on it. And send you the Stone Mount notebook from me to you free. And you do that by going to our website, stonemount.us, and order them there, and we'll get them to you as soon as we can. We just ordered a new emergency shipment because we had, like I think I said earlier, we set several record days for sales to the website. So we're down to the nubbins now, but we got more coming. So order now, you'll get them. And that link is down below. If you're not with us on the Patreon channel, it only costs you $1 a month. I don't try to make money off of Patreon because I want it to be available to everybody. So it only costs $1 a month, and I put a lot more stuff over there. I'll be putting this article over there, which includes the video that you should want to see. You should watch this video, and so take what I said seriously today. We are in a war. We don't know it. Too many of the people on our side do not know it. But we are, because they're in a war with us. Just because we're not fighting back doesn't mean we're not in a war. We are in the middle of a conquest. Let me put it that way. We are being conquered. We'd better step up. We'd better recognize it, and we'd better start fighting back. Okay? All right. You all have a good day. Have a very happy Easter tomorrow. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'll talk to you later.